Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I am Zmore the Dad in DPS, and we're back again with another episode of The Good, The Scrap, and The Script. Now today's weapon isn't one that I got from the purveyor, but it's definitely one that I've been wanting to test out. On top of that, I think this is the best time to test it, especially since there's a bunch of changes that have happened, so we get to see how well it does in what is going to be the game's state for the next little while, despite all the problems we had yesterday. But before we get into that, if you do enjoy my videos, and you enjoy this one after you've watched it, don't forget to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. So prepare yourself for the gut grind. So, the weapon itself is a bloodied 25% faster fire rate. The first time we've had a 2-star weapon on this particular show. Now the reason I went for this one over the many guns I have is, first off, what I'm going to do today does not involve actually shooting the gun. Now, if anybody has seen these weapons recently being used by anybody, they are probably one of the best melee weapons. And I have a suspicion that the faster fire rate works on the melee side of it. Now, as you can see, it's got a bayonet on there, and it's, well, a bayonet, a shredder. And pretty much I'm going to use this to just mince enemies. Bloodied, because the build that my character's currently got is bloodied. So in general, it's going to provide the most optimum damage. We'll see how it does against the big enemies. I already know what it does to the little ones. So, I have used this weapon quite a fair bit, and my first impressions of it are incredibly positive. It's best utilised in power armour. Now the reason that is that this weapon will actually do half of the desired damage outside of power armour. As you can see, that ghoul did not last very long. So you want to always be using this in power armour. Don't get me wrong, against ghouls, being in power armour doesn't make a huge difference. They're going to die all the same. But in general, you want this gun in power armour at almost all opportunities that you have it, because it is just going to absolutely mince every single thing you come up against at close range. And ghouls and like mirelurks and all the kind of enemies that run towards you blindly are by far the better ones to use this on. So definitely use it to farm ghouls. As you can see, that's just wiped out that entire group of ghouls. No effort whatsoever, very little damage done to me at all. And it's just absolutely obscene. I can't begin to describe how well this weapon does in general, and it's not difficult to use. You can use just about any of these weapons and you're going to get similar results. What I would say is, in testing, I have an explosive one, and you don't want to use it with explosive, because even an explosive minigun, as you charge it up, will fire out an explosive shot. So you can't really do this with an explosive weapon. The downsides of this as well is, if you get staggered, is that the weapon stops functioning as, well, it's still spinning, but no damage comes from it. So any enemy that staggers you, you're going to have trouble against, because you're going to have to keep restarting the minigun and just kind of pressing the button in and out every so often just to get the spinning going again. So there is a downside, but at the same time, it's not a big enough downside that you should really worry about it. It's a case of you're going to get quite a few good hits in before anything's going to stagger you. It's like with most melee enemies, you are going to, yeah, you're going to get staggered eventually. In power armour, less so, but yeah, as you can see, carnage. Now, onto the build rather, and the perks. There's a lot of perks that do not matter in this situation. The only real perk that makes any real difference outside of the normal kind of perks that you'd go for to boost damage, like Bloody Mess, Stabilized, all these kind of things, is Basher. Now this is going to increase gun bashing by 50% damage with a 10% chance to cripple your opponent, which in turn staggers them and all that good stuff. So definitely get this. Everything else, for the most part, it's just your regular build. So that makes this gun really easy to optimize in every way, shape or form. To get the best damage out of it, just do things that boost damage in general, or increase your ability to dodge attacks and all the usual good stuff. that's pretty much it. There's not really else much to say about what the build needs to have involved. I would definitely recommend Blocker though. Blocker will stop enemies from mincing you. Now, as usual, we are back with our good friend Jeff, the super mutant, well, super mutant behemoth, and we're going to see if we can help him out with his colonoscopy. And he's going down. Come on, Jeff, I don't want to go into the water. So as you can see, that's the gun stopped. So that's, again, the big problem, is you get staggered, and you're going to have issues there. But in terms of the damage he's doing to me versus the damage I'm doing to him, this gun has used absolutely no ammo and completely wrecked him. So yeah, pretty amazing. And next up is the Queen. Now, I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but if you're using this weapon, do not have your sound on full blast. You are going to shred your eardrums if you do. And that's a Mirelurk, a very hard armoured enemy, just completely emasculated. I'm going to find a king, because they're always the ones that give me the most trouble here. And this will be the one time where there's none here. Either way, one will show up. They always show up when I don't want them to. And we'll just power ourselves up and get going. As you see, the Queen is hurting my face. But we'll keep mincing her. Luckily, for the most part, you can dodge her attacks and stagger her. Oh, there's a king. What has happened to the Queen? As you can see, it's completely mincing the king. I don't know what I did to her, but she can't move. She's completely buggered. I must have crippled her limbs. This weapon absolutely decimates the Queen. That is a new one. I didn't even need to use a single stim pack. I just crippled her legs, and then she was bingo bango bongo dead. Yeah, absolutely amazing. So we'll move on to how this weapon works in daily ops. Now, the biggest problem with today's daily op is that it's melee based enemies. Well, not melee based enemies, you have to kill them with melee. And the problem that being is, in the new daily ops mode, they absolutely mince you. However, the same can be said for you. You absolutely mince them. So any enemy you come across, you are going to be able to kill really quickly, but the downside is that you're going to die just as quickly yourself. I, unfortunately, do not have the best power armor in the world, so I take a lot of damage in comparison to what you normally would. Most people have got the full T60, I want to say, set, and that does help. There is also a case of the enemies are dotted around, and trying to find them is an absolute nightmare. I'm running around and they're just getting in the way, and yeah. Oh, there you are. So yeah, learning the maps is definitely going to be key, but this weapon, it destroys them. It destroys them quick, it destroys them easily. So hopefully we can see how this does against the big bad final boss of this scenario. My teammates are killing these guys relatively quickly, so I might not get there in time, but you can at least see if someone else is able to mince them, I should be able to mince them as well. Let's see, he's normally upstairs here. Nope, not here today. Where have you went? Oh god, it's so awkward walking around in power armor if you're not used to it. Ah, there'll be. I can see him firing missiles. So, as you can see against the Juggernaut, he is getting minced. He is barely able to do a damn thing against me. And then he's down. Is this perfect? So we're definitely finishing on time. So yeah, as you can see, very good weapon. Very good weapon with the ability to just completely wreck anything in its path. So, as one final test, we're gonna find out how well this thing does against the Scorch Beast Queen. Obviously I need to wait for her to land, being the main problem, so at the moment I'll be just taking pot shots at her until she gets her ass on the floor. Alrighty, so as you can see, that's a lot of damage, but every time she hits you, you're going to have to reset it. So ideally, having multiple people in melee range would be the best idea. I don't, however, so I do have the slight issue that, yeah, no one else is meleeing her. But, as you can see, that was a lot of damage in a short amount of time. So I've definitely managed to get my 1000 target. As you can see as well, nothing survives this thing close range. Nothing. There's not a damn enemy in the game that is going to be able to resist this thing. So, overall, a very good weapon in terms of damage. It's just, you need to keep refreshing the attacks and whatnot. That is a little bit troublesome, a little bit annoying, but at the end of the day, if you're wanting damage, it's going to do it. It's going to do it in spades. So yeah, that was today's video. Something a little bit different. Definitely a little bit different when it comes to that weapon. You might have seen it before, other people kind of using it. It's definitely worth using, especially if there's enemies that are coming into melee range. It saves on ammo, it saves on time, it saves on repairing the goddamn weapon. It is just fantastic at doing a lot of damage in a short amount of time. It is definitely the best melee weapon technically in game at the moment. But with that, if you enjoyed the video, guys, don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time in the Wasteland.